Hello, and thank you for tuning into this week's Mayor's Update. As always, we have a lot of important information to share with you here this week, so please feel free to share this video with your friends, family, relatives, and anyone else you think might find this information helpful over the course of the coming week. First of all, happy Halloween. We do want to remind people that Trick or Treat is happening this coming Monday, October 31st from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. citywide. So we want to remind people that during those times, if you want people trick-or-treating at your house, please put your outside lights on. If you do not want people going to your house, simply just turn your light off. It's good to see this back again this year, and especially it was great early at the end of last week to see the Halloween stroll come back. Gardner Square 2 put that event back on this year after being gone for the past 3 years, where children, ages preschool and under were able to come trick-or-treating through the offices here in Gardner City Hall and throughout the downtown in different businesses there. We normally get between 2,000 and 2,500 kids at that event there. So it was really great to see that event come back again this year, and really just to see the excitement when kids come get their candy here in Gardner City Hall. So really nice build up for Halloween this coming week. So really looking forward to that as well. The Haywood Hospital Healthy Harvest 5K is going to take place again this coming Saturday, October 29th. And that'll begin at 9 o'clock. That's the time that the runners will start. There will be a brief ceremony at 8:30 beforehand, so you can meet in the hospital's parking lot if you are participating in that one. If you're looking for more information on that, you can find that on the hospital's website and social media platforms as well. Again, that's the Healthy Harvest 5K, and the money raised from this does go to assisting Haywood Hospital's efforts throughout the community throughout the year, and not only in our schools and promoting and supporting mental health, but also different other philanthropic endeavors that the hospital undertakes year in and year out. So thank you very much to everyone at Haywood Hospital for putting that on every year. We have a couple of new businesses downtown, bringing our total number of new businesses that have opened in the city of Gardner this past year alone to 27 businesses. Chair City Diner had their opening day this past Wednesday at the former Sacred Heart School building where Chair City Church is now located. They are in the former classroom wing of the Sacred Heart School, and they are a full breakfast diner open from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can find more information on their social media page, Chair City Diner. We also have the sign up finally for Dot Line Curve Creations over on Parker Street. That is a new artist co-op that is located there, where artists can show off their work, sell their art, and attend or teach different art classes there. So great to see the arts coming into downtown as well. And then over on Main Street, we have Alexa Fashion. That has recently opened in 98 Main Street, directly next to the Blue Moon Diner. That's a women's clothing store. And then Shower Glass of Central Mass is going to be opening very shortly in between the Paramount Cafe and Balanced Staffing Services. So we've had a really good year here in Gardner. We've got 27 businesses that have opened just since January 1st of this year. And we've got the 12 buildings that have been purchased that are currently being redone. We've given out 8 $50,000 grants to fix the facades of different buildings throughout the city, not just in the downtown. 8 businesses have gotten grants to replace their signage and their awnings in front of their buildings. It's really a lot. There's really a lot to be proud of here in Gardner in terms of our economic development measures here. So I do want to thank all of our staff. Our Economic Development Coordinator, Jessica DeRoy, our Director of Community Development and Planning, Trevor Beauregard, his Assistant Director, Lindsay Butler, and everyone else who's really played a big role in getting people here into Gardner and really revitalizing our economy and what we have here. I'm really excited to see what Gardner looks like in 3 years as a result of all of these different revitalization projects, these businesses opening, and everything else that's happening in the city right now. It really is an exciting time for us all. The Board of Health has asked that we give a reminder that yard waste pickup day is going to be November 8th through 12th. And again, your pickup day is the day that your trash gets picked up. So while we do say that yard waste will be collected between November 8th, which is a Tuesday, to November 12th, the end of that week, it's whatever day your trash gets picked up, that is your yard waste day. But we will also be doing a second yard waste day from November 22nd to November 26th, so closer towards Thanksgiving. So if you have any questions on when yard waste is, you can always check the Board of Health's website and the Gardner website, gardner-ma.gov, or you can call our offices at any time, and we're happy to certainly answer any of those questions for you as well. The tax collector's office has also asked us to remind individuals that the second quarter tax bills are due this coming Tuesday, November 1st. We do want to remind people this is the second quarter of the anomaly that we're seeing in the way that the tax laws overlap with each other that we talked about back in July, where up until the council changes the tax rate, which we expect to happen sometime in December, and we do expect the tax rate to go down because of the increase in valuations here with the new median home value in Gardner now being, the average home value in Gardner being at $285,000. If one end goes up, the other end has to go down in order to meet that cap that we have set by Proposition 2.5. But until that happens and the council takes that formal vote, we're stuck billing at the high values with last year's tax rate until we fix that. Again, there's plenty of information to this on the city's website. We've mailed out information on this. If you've lost that and you want to read it again, you can contact my office at any time and we'll be happy to resend that to you. But we do want to remind people that those tax bills are due this coming Tuesday. And again, if you have any questions on why the tax bill looks the way it does, you can contact my office at any time and we'll be happy to try to answer those questions for you there and provide you with all the information that we can. While we're on the topic of municipal finance, we did talk about last week how free cash was certified. That means that our surpluses and where revenue came in over budget and expenses came in under budget in our general fund, all of that gets together and the city has a year to be able to use that on certain one-time projects throughout the city. That was certified at just over $2.6 million. There'll be some proposals that'll go before the city council, about $875,000 worth, to go towards different projects that we have planned for the upcoming year. The rest we kind of hold off on doing to see how things go through the year, particularly how things go in terms of planning for our snow and ice removals. So that's purchasing salt, the labor used for our contractors that plow the roads, our plow drivers that are DPW workers, the fuel for our plows, different things like that all go into that snow and ice category that we actually don't pay off until May. So we do hold on to a substantial chunk of free cash until the end of the year. Approximately $585,000 is what we're budgeting right now, just to put that away to see if we need it. And if we don't need it, we can use that towards other capital projects that we have. So there is going to be some planning on how that money is going to be used throughout the course of the year. So do keep an eye out for that, and we'll try to get information about how we plan to use that free cash money in these updates so that you can understand what we're doing with your funding as well. Those are also things that are certified through a process that's called retained earnings for our different enterprise accounts. And what an enterprise account is, that's where the money that goes into a specific system for a specific service goes back into funding that service. So for instance, the golf course is not funded through a penny of taxpayer dollars. That's solely used through funding that's received through memberships at the Gardner Golf Course. So therefore it's in an enterprise account. They can budget as much as they collect in memberships. And if they collect over that budget, that falls back into their account for the next year for them to use. And we have several of those enterprise accounts here in Gardner: the golf course, the landfill, solid waste collection, so that's trash pickup, water, and sewer. So basically it's services that you can utilize from the city, but you don't have to utilize. And there's different state laws and case law and the different court systems as well that make it so that we cannot use money that's someone paid into a system because they're receiving that system to benefit someone who's not in that system. So that's why we have to account for those separately. So those have also been certified and put before the council. Then there's also a term in municipal finance known as new growth. That's things like someone added an addition onto their house, there was a deck that was added, a lot was subdivided, and so there's a new tax bill that's issued as a result of that lot being subdivided and a new structure built on that. It's things that have increased property values that aren't related to just market adjustments in valuation that were not accounted for back when the budget was passed in June. We budget around $250,000 every year in terms of increased revenue as a result of that new growth. The state came back this week and told us that Gardner actually, because we're seeing such an increase in building in the city, which we can track in our building permits too, our new growth is actually $415,000. Therefore, a supplemental budget request will be going to the city council. That means we can take that funding and then put it back into the city's budget to cover costs that were cut back when the budget was made either by me before I submitted it to the council or by votes of the city council, or different programs that we'd like to add here in Gardner that can all be added into the budget now because we've already obtained that revenue. This isn't new revenue that we could or could not get. It's money that we're going to receive because the valuations on those properties dictate that those taxes now have to come in. So we'll be going before the city council with a presentation on what we'd like to see in that supplemental budget there to figure out how we can utilize that extra $200,000 and change to benefit the city in the long run. So I want to thank our finance team, particularly our auditor, John Richard, and our city assessor, Christine Kumar, for the work that they've been doing to get all those full certifications by the state and really, continue to have Gardner have a top-notch finance team here in the city as well. The Memorial Lights Drive will begin on November 1st. Gardner Square 2 is putting that event on again this year. There is a change to the holiday stroll. That's our annual Christmas parade that we have here. Because this is Gardner's 100th Christmas as a city, because our city centennial is on January 1st, 2023, I've asked Gardner Square 2 if we can kind of extend this celebration to kick off the Christmas season in a little bit more of a special way. So we'll be meeting at Gardner City Hall, at 4:00 p.m. on the Sunday after Thanksgiving. The parade will go down City Hall Avenue, around Lafayette Square, where that evergreen tree will light. Once the parade passes it, it'll go up Parker Street, then up Central Street to Monument Park, where the ceremony will take place at the bandstand and the trees will light at Monument Park. So we've got a lot to look forward to as we get closer to the Christmas season. But for now, just know that the Memorial Lights campaign that happens every year is going to be beginning again next week. And you can contact Gardner Square 2 for further information on that. We had quite a lucky week here in the city of Gardner this past week. And I say lucky because there's a lot of hard work that's been done by Jessica DeRoy, our economic development coordinator, and a lot of other people in the city to get us some grant funding that we were surprised to get this past week with the amounts that we were able to receive them at. You always apply for higher than you think you can get, and for almost all of these, except for one, we were able to actually get the full amounts that we requested from the Commonwealth's Community OneStop program. And if you don't know what the Community OneStop program is, it's a new initiative that Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito began a couple years ago, where they were noticing trends in municipalities that were applying for grants saying, we really want to fund this project, but only a piece of it fits what the grant is meant to cover. So the grant was either fully denied or severely restricted because that piece is the only thing that fit, but this may have fit over here. So basically what the governor's administration has done was have all of these state grants for economic development put into one single application. And then it's up to officials at the state level to determine what falls into what grants category, and then award grants to build up the full cost of the project from pieces of each of these different grant categories that are there. So that way, instead of a municipality being fully denied because they didn't know what other opportunities are out there, you now have the subject matter experts going in and really filling those gaps. So Gardner received 5 separate grants from this Community OneStop this past week, and I had the pleasure of joining Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito in Pittsfield yesterday to be able to receive these awards on behalf of the city, even though they will be coming out to Gardner sometime before the end of the year to celebrate these awards as well. Our site readiness grant that we received in the amount of $155,500 is going towards a feasibility study to see where the city could put a new industrial business park and how successful that would be, as all of our current existing industrial business parks are full at this point, and we don't have any more room to get someone in, which is a great problem to have. We are looking at land off of Matthew Street, just on the other side of the Gardner District Court near Mount Wachusett Community College for this program, but we'll be working with our on-call engineers to make sure that that's actually a feasible option to undertake over there. The Mass Development Technical Assistance Grant, the Gardner received an award of $40,000 to explore whether or not we should be looking at implementing a district improvement financing program for the downtown area in the Mill Street Urban Renewal District. If you're not sure what district increment financing is, it basically creates a separate account that can be used for economic development purposes in specific districts that you outline. And what it's funded through is if a property is worth $20,000 one year, in the amount of taxes that it pays, in the downtown area from these big buildings, but then next year it's $30,000. That difference of $10,000 falls into the separate pot that the council can then appropriate for different economic development measures that way, rather than having to put it all in the general fund and really see how it fits there. This really earmarks that increased value every year into a special economic development fund so that we can continue our efforts locally. So we'll be studying that with some technical assistance from the Mass Development, which is the state's economic development and land bank arm of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth Places Grant, which is helping to create different destination spots throughout Massachusetts, awarded the city $30,000 to buy a couple of parklets. These are different barrier seating areas that can be put in different parallel parking spaces if a restaurant chooses to rent those parallel parking spaces from the city. We've seen this work in several other communities as close as Fitchburg and Worcester, or as far as the larger places out east or some of the rural places out west like Amherst. There's different places that have already shown that these can work, and this would be a partnership done with a specific restaurant, not a specific street. And we'll be working with Jess DeRoy to see exactly where these will be going next year. But we can purchase about 5 to 10 of these with the funding that we receive from the Commonwealth Places Grant. The Mass Downtown Initiative awarded the city $25,000 for wayfinding signs. If you've ever been to larger cities, these are those signs that say, parking this way, restaurant that way, this business is over here, just to help people find where they're going around downtown, find what's available to them downtown. So we'll be working on figuring out where exactly that signage is going and what's going to be included on that signage. And then the Collaborative Workspace Grant awarded the Wachusett Business Incubator $17,000 to really revamp the incubator's work that they're doing to help local businesses grow. In particular with the new partnership that we're forming with the Wachusett Business Incubator to help these new businesses form a business plan so that they can then become eligible for the vacant storefront revitalization program that the city is now eligible for, where part of the application is getting a full formal business plan put in place. So there's a lot of good things happening in Gardner right now, and I want to thank the Baker-Polito administration, State Rep John Zlotnick, and our State Senator Ann Goby for all of the work that they've been doing to help secure almost $500,000 in funding from the Commonwealth to really boost our economic development efforts that we're doing here in Gardner. It's really exciting for us to be able to see all of that done. And lastly, I'm just going to close out with a special congratulations to the Gardner High School Wildcat Marching Band, who this past week received the silver medal at the statewide marching band finals put on by the Massachusetts Instrumental and Choral Conductors Association. This gets put on every year, close to the end of October, normally the last week, but there's an extra week here in October this year. But couldn't be prouder of our Wildcat Marching Band, especially as a proud, former trumpet player and former drum major of the band back when I was in high school. So congratulations to those students. And as always, just remember that we do have early voting going on again next week during regular City Hall business hours, 8 o'clock in the morning to 4:30 p.m. on Monday through Thursday, 8 o'clock to 1 p.m. on Friday. And then again, this coming Saturday, October 29th, there'll be early in-person voting from 8 o'clock a.m. to 5 p.m. And it is also the last day to register to vote in the upcoming November 8th election. So again, any election questions, reach out to the city clerk's office. And aside from all of that, happy Halloween, have fun trick-or-treating, and I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Thank you very much, and have a good day.